Unlimited Tax Tips, brought to you by Stadler and Company, your hometown tax experts.
And welcome back. Lori Carpenter from Stadler and Company joining me now, and we are talking about those economic impact payments. A lot of people know them as the stimulus money that they're going to be receiving. So, I've been taking a lot of calls here at the station about these checks, what people need to do. So first of all, let's just kind of explain what these stimulus checks are, this money coming people's way.
Sure. So the Congress has passed a stimulus check for $1,200 per individual or $2,400 for a married couple. And then in addition to that, there is an extra $500 per child who would qualify for the child tax credit. So for a married couple with 2 children, that stimulus package would be $3,400.
Now, there are some guidelines as far as the income for people who are going to receive this money. Can you talk about that?
Right. So if somebody is single, the maximum amount of income they can have in order to qualify is $75,000. A married couple would be $150,000. And there is an increase over the $75,000 for somebody who is head of household.
Okay. And I do know other calls I've taken, people who are on Social Security, they don't fill out tax forms, and so they're worried that they're not going to get the stimulus money. Can you talk a little bit? Do they need to do anything?
So if somebody is on Social Security, this is one of those areas that's been really confusing because Congress said one thing and then IRS said something different. And now finally, the final version, I think, on this is that if they have Social Security or disability or railroad retirement, they will not need to do anything typically. The IRS will match up their 1099 with them and then send out that payment. Now within that, if there's a married couple, they may send 2 separate payments if the couple doesn't file because their records don't indicate whether or not a couple is married or single. They just have the 2 1099-Rs showing that each of these people qualified for the $1,200.
Alrighty, and also it could be if you are a single mother and you qualify for one of these stimulus checks, especially what if you're on Social Security, they may not know about your children, and that's an extra $1,000 if you've got a couple of children. So what should that person do?
So if you have Social Security or disability and children or other dependents on your return, you really may want to go ahead and file a return, even if it's simple, just to give the IRS the information that, yes, you have children in your household and you qualify for an additional $500 per child.
Okay, and is it pretty easy to fill out these forms? What would people need to do if they've not been filing this tax form?
So somebody like that can file what's called a 0 return or a return with just $1 of interest, something that will allow it to file. And it's just for information. In other words, we're saying to the IRS, these are the dependents or the children that are on my return. So there wouldn't be any tax due or any refund coming from that filing. It just would say, this is my household and these are the people that qualify to receive this economic stimulus money.
And you know what? There are people out there for whatever reason may not file a tax form. There may be people who are homeless who haven't filed tax forms. Do they qualify for this money? And then what do they need to do?
So according to the IRS commissioner, everyone qualifies. Any adult would qualify. So if there's somebody with a lower income or they normally wouldn't file, if they get VA benefits only, or if they're homeless, everyone would qualify, and they do need to make sure they file a simple return like we were just describing that would have, this is my household or this is who I am. It's got their information so that the IRS will have that and can send out this payment to them.
Alrighty, and does your service help people file these forms?
So we can do that. We have a small charge for forms like that. There are other free services as well. We always recommend that you consult a tax professional so that you're getting the best information possible.
All right, Laura, you've just answered so many questions. I think people call me now, I will be able to help them a little better as well. Anything that I've not asked you, though, that you really think people need to know when it comes to these economic impact payments, the stimulus money that's going to be heading their way?
I think the only other thing I would say is that we want to make sure that if you haven't filed in 2018 or 2019 tax return, you may not be seeing money anytime soon. So if you have a responsibility to file and a need to file, get that done right away so that you can see this money sooner rather than later.
All right, Lori, thanks again for the great job that you do. We really appreciate it, and stay well.
Thanks. You as well.
Some good information from Stadler and Company.